hear something skittering behind the wall. You're tuned into Bug Out.
You're tuned into Bug Out.
Don't let pest be your overnight gets. I'm the exterminator.
ABC or termite pest control.
Family owned to almond otter.
And pest control. Family owned and operated.
That got us lows. Family owned and denunciated. Ethyl operated.
Call ABCO today. We've got the case closed.
The homeowner had already cleaned the bathroom twice. Still, ants kept appearing along the counter. Then a silverfish showed up beside the laundry area. And a few days later, there were small mouse droppings in a utility closet. 3 rooms, 3 clues, 1 very clean home. The detail that mattered was not on the counter. It was the narrow shadow around a pipe under the sink.
A gap around a pipe connected all 3 sightings?
Not by itself, and that distinction is the whole story. The pipe gap was one possible route, not a magic answer. But once we looked at the plumbing chase, the laundry connection, and the utility closet, the building started to look less like separate rooms and more like a network.
A network most people never inspect.
Exactly. Welcome to Bugged Out, the XTERMIGATOR Report, the Field Notes podcast from ABECO Extermigators, a 5th-generation, family-owned pest control team. I'm Mikey, and Dana Rivera is here with me, our IPM specialist and prevention educator, professional clue collector, and occasional wall-opening skeptic.
That is a very polite way to say I ask, are we sure? A lot.
And today, that question is useful. It is August 6th, 2026, and this is episode 12, The Hidden Highway. We're talking pest prevention, integrated pest management, exclusion, entry points, and moisture control around utility spaces. This is education, not a diagnosis. For recurring rodent evidence, termites, bedbugs, widespread activity, or structural concerns, a licensed inspection is the safest next step.
And we are not telling anyone to start sealing every hole they can find.
Right, because the hole might be around a pipe, a cable, a vent, conduit, or equipment that needs service access. Let's keep it simple. We follow the clues, figure out what they actually support, and then choose the safest next move. On this field-inspired call, the homeowner described ants mostly in the morning. They were appearing along the bathroom counter and near the edge of the sink. The laundry area silverfish was occasional, not a daily swarm. In the utility closet, the evidence was behind a storage bin, small droppings, and a dark mark along the lower wall.
That is already more useful than there are bugs everywhere. Room, time, frequency, and evidence type give us something to work with.
The kitchen was clean. Pantry items were stored properly. There was no obvious trail crossing the floor. Under the bathroom sink, though, the pipe entered the wall through a collar with a visible gap. Not a cartoon-sized opening, just a narrow shadow around the pipe, easy to miss if you were looking only at the counter.
And that is where people can feel blamed. They think, my home is clean, so this cannot be happening.
Clean matters, absolutely. But clean does not mean sealed. Pests still need access, shelter, water, or a reason to keep exploring. A room can be well maintained and still have an unfinished service opening or a damp cavity behind a wall.
Hold on. You called that pipe opening the clue that mattered. Are you saying the ants were definitely coming through it?
No, and this is where you earn your skeptic badge. We did not see an ant march out of the gap with a tiny suitcase. The opening aligned with the observed area, but alignment is not confirmation. We also looked for moisture, trail direction, activity near other service lines, and evidence that might connect the rooms.
The tiny suitcase would be compelling evidence, though.
Absolutely. Until then, a route is a hypothesis. Map first, seal second.
That rule protects people from overreacting to a single sighting. Silverfish, for example, often prefer protected areas with moisture, but one silverfish does not prove a hidden infestation. We would look for repeated activity, shed skins, dampness, paper or cardboard nearby, and access into floor or wall spaces.
The laundry area had a little condensation near a supply connection. The baseboard behind the machine felt cool and slightly damp. That did not prove the silverfish came through a utility opening, but it did show the area offered shelter and moisture.
And moisture can make an ordinary route more attractive. A plumbing chase gives insects cover. A cable penetration gives them a narrow path. An HVAC or conduit opening may connect spaces that look separate from the outside. They are not invisible highways in a supernatural sense. They are just sheltered building pathways that people rarely notice.
So ants may use edges and narrow voids, while rodents need larger access and leave stronger evidence: droppings, rub marks, gnawing, nesting material, or repeated sounds.
Yes, but a utility closet is not automatically a crossroads.
Because one gap could be unrelated?
Exactly. In this case, the rub mark ran toward the same general service area as the pipe chase, which made the theory worth investigating. But correlation is not confirmation. The evidence could also point to an exterior wall, a ceiling space, or a shared chase. We compare clues before deciding what needs repair.
Fair correction. I like the hidden highway image, but we should not let a good image turn into a bad diagnosis.
That is the balance. The clues don't lie, but they do need context.
It matters even more in apartments and connected buildings. If activity is near a shared wall or common utility chase, the source may not be inside the resident's unit. A renter can keep food secured, report a leak, and document the sightings. They may not be responsible for opening a wall or repairing a building penetration.
Right. Notify property management with the room, date, photos, and evidence. Do not pull apart equipment or make a repair that could affect another unit. Shared utilities need coordination.
That is integrated pest management in real life. We inspect, identify as carefully as we can, map activity, reduce food and moisture contributors, coordinate appropriate exclusion, and monitor what happens next. It is not one dramatic move. It is a sequence.
And monitoring keeps us honest. If activity drops after a leak is corrected and an appropriate gap is repaired, that supports the theory. If activity continues, we revisit the identification and the map. We do not force every clue to fit our first explanation.
If this were the bathroom today, I would start with a photograph and a simple note: where the ants appeared, what time, how often, and whether there was a visible trail or only a single insect.
Then look only at areas you can safely and legally access. Visible pipe entries, the outside of cabinets, baseboards, and accessible utility spaces are reasonable places to observe. Do not open walls, pull appliances apart, reach into electrical or mechanical equipment, or disturb anything that requires a qualified trade.
For the laundry clue, check whether condensation returns, whether a connection is damp, or whether stored cardboard is sitting against a cool wall. You are not trying to perform a repair during a podcast. You are trying to notice a condition and report it accurately.
That is a quick DIY win. Reduce obvious moisture, clean crumbs and spills, keep pantry food and waste secured, and avoid leaving pet food out for long periods. Those steps do not prove where a pest came from, but they remove reasons to keep coming back.
And for the utility closet, move stored items only if you can do so safely. Then check for evidence without touching droppings with bare hands. Photograph the area, note the location, and contact building staff or a qualified professional if the evidence returns.
One more important boundary. Do not automatically seal a vent, drain opening, or utility gap just because it looks suspicious. Some openings allow drainage, airflow, expansion, or service access. Blocking one without knowing its purpose can create a maintenance or safety problem.
So the myth is not that exclusion works. It absolutely can. The myth is that more sealing is always better.
Correct sealing is better. Correct location, correct material, correct person for the repair.
Call for a professional inspection when activity keeps returning, when you find mouse evidence, when a gap involves structure or shared utilities, or when you cannot tell whether you are looking at an entry point, a nesting area, or just a coincidence.
Don't panic. Get the facts. Map what you see. Reduce moisture and food access, and let the right professional evaluate the openings you should not alter yourself.
The big idea is simple. Plumbing openings, cable lines, HVAC penetrations, vents, conduit, and shared chases can connect places that look completely separate. A sighting tells you where a pest appeared. Careful inspection helps reveal how it may have arrived.
And your next best move is practical. Document the activity, inspect only accessible areas, report leaks or condensation, secure food and waste, and ask property management or a qualified professional about utility-related openings. Tiny pest, big lesson.
That wraps up episode 12 of Bugged Out, the XTERMIGATOR Report from ABCO Extermigators. If this helped you understand a recurring pest problem without the panic, follow or subscribe and leave a review so other listeners can find practical pest education.
You can also share this episode with a homeowner, renter, property manager, or facility team dealing with activity they cannot trace. Prevention spreads fast.
For today's XTERMIGATOR DIY Report, photograph and map the activity, check only safe and accessible gaps, report leaks or condensation, store food securely, and get qualified help for openings connected to utilities or shared spaces. Until next time, stay sharp, stay sealed, and keep it pest-proof.